Hey, how you doing tonight? What can I get started for you?
Yeah, I'm doing good tonight. Another busy day at the ballpark. Now I need something really, really good. You got something really good for me there?
Of course I do. I have exactly what you need. Jack and Cano coming right up.
All right, guys, welcome to the very, very first show that we decided to call.
Jack and Cano.
I think it sounds perfect.
Well, it's like our favorite drink, Jack and Coke, right? Goes together perfectly.
Everything goes together. Look at this. This sounds just great. I told you I was going to get a cool mic. I got myself a cool mic, just like yours.
Well, I'm glad you could be cool like me. I mean, I've been tearing up the break scene with this microphone. Everyone's super impressed. So
Everything is happening down there, man. Listen, the Tampa Bay Lightning, they took the whole thing.
this is
Right.
Champa Bay, Champa Bay. Get it correct.
All right. I take that back. All right. Obviously, know what happened with Brady.
Our savior came to the Bay and took us to the promised land, something that hadn't been done since 2000 and what? 2000, when was the last championship?
I think 2002.
I was going to say 2002.
2002.
Seems like it's been longer than that.
And then we'll talk about how all the fire that you've had and that you've broken in the last year. But hey, listen, this is the very first show. But we've done this before. We have conversations like this on the phone all the time, right, Jack?
That's right.
So what we're gonna do is this time we're just gonna put on a cool set of headphones, and we're also gonna have the cool mics, and we're gonna go ahead and we're just gonna get right into it. Jack, what is the hottest thing happening in the bobblehead world right now?
Well, it has to be the Mountie. Definitely the Mountie. I've got it right here sitting next to me. How tall do you think this thing is?
I'd say about 8.5, 9 inches. It's your standard size bobblehead, but then because he's on top of the horse, that's probably around, I would say about 9 inches tall or so with the base.
Right. I've seen a lot of comparison between the Mountie and the Night. I guess was it the Night King on the horse? Was that
The Rangers?
the
gave
Rangers
that out.
bobble?
Mhm.
And the Rangers bobble, it was a good bobble, but the horse didn't bobble. So this is a duel, so to speak.
You got the horse head that bobbles. You got the Mountie head, obviously that bobbles because it looks just beautiful. Everything just flows perfectly with this bobblehead. Great team effort for sure.
Yeah. So, that's a great segue to talk about, how did the Mountie come about in the line of bobbles from the bar?
Yep.
We started out with the trio. We had a Loco for our first bobble, which was, becoming somewhat of a grail now as far as the
Woo.
bar goes. And, that's the OG. They people are starting to call it even. So, you
I'll
got
call him an OG.
El Rey Sutoro. I mean, that was the second bobble, the duel with the dog, had the maraca in his mouth. Pretty sick.
And he bobs too.
He did. So that was
Yeah.
that was the first duel. And then we came with the full size, two full size on the next duel, which was La Reina, Grande.
La Reina, yeah.
So, those, all sugar skulls. We were kind of wanted to start off with the sugar skulls, and, the kind of the fourth bobble we came up with was the Mountie. And why did we come up with the Mountie? Well, I don't know. The way I remember it was, we wanted to expand across the border, and we started thinking about what would make sense for a Canadian bobblehead. Something that we could share with our friends to the north. A lot of
Big collectors up there too. Big collectors over in Canada.
exactly big collectors in Canada, and well, what do you think about when you think of Canada? We started thinking about it, maple leaves and Mounties. I mean, that's what I think about. I think about the Mountie. They're iconic. It screams Canada. So that was an idea we started tossing around. Hey, what about a Mountie bobblehead? And what if we made him a sugar skull?
Yep.
Trying to think what would fit. And, then we started looking at pictures of, sugar skull horses, because, that's kind of where the idea started coming from. Had seen some, when we were doing the research on sugar skulls for our first set, we started looking, and I just happened upon a picture of a horse, and it kind of everything kind of came together. The horse just to me looks, so cool as a sugar skull with the bones on the ribs, and the legs, and I think it just kind of goes together.
And another thing too, Jack, is just like El Toro, right, with the El Rey bobblehead, a dog or an animal for that matter. Actually, no, because the yard goats made that a sugar skull goat, but a dog
Yep.
had never been done,
Right.
and neither had a horse.
Correct.
So it was almost like everything that needed to be done and anything that was supposed to be done when it came to a Mountie was all coming together. And we had an idea that everybody agreed was, hey, we need to roll with this because this is great.
So, this is a good opportunity for us to talk a little bit about, what goes into making a bobblehead.
Yeah.
Obviously it's a long creative process as far as the idea goes, but once the idea kind of starts taking shape, how do we move from the idea to the finished product? And the first thing, we kind of really had to do was look at the sketch that we were provided by Success after, we went through the process of providing the idea to them. And, we had to start making the changes and seeing, what needed to be changed, what needed to be done with the sketch. You kind of get up, there's lots of things to think about that you don't think about, the first time.
We wanted to make sure, for example, for those that do have um, the Mountie bobblehead, we wanted to make sure that the horse was not going to be hitting that when it bobbled, that it wasn't going to hit anything, and vice versa. We wanted to make sure that everything was going to be free of anything that moved, so that it would be nicer. Again, with the tail, if the tail bobbled, well, during shipment, the tail could break because it's something that is loose. It's something that is not fully attached to the body of the bobblehead. So it creates more danger for breakage to take place. And then when we got the sketch back, we did have to go through a couple other changes that were they were a little tough to make because it involved a lot more money having to be paid. And we were kind of like, as a team, we were wondering, okay, well, what do we want to do? Do we want to do with this, or do we want to keep it like this, or do you want to make some changes? And Jack, tell them what that was.
Yeah, so when we first looked at the, they do so when they make a bobblehead, they're gonna create like what they call a butter mold. You've probably seen some butter molds on the pages. Just basically like what the bobblehead's gonna look like unpainted. And we started looking at it, and we were okay with most of it. It went to paint actually, and then it came back from paint, and that's when we started noticing some things that we wanted changed. So the first thing we noticed was that the horse, it didn't really have all of the structure on it that we wanted to see, like a sugar skull would have, like the bones and the ribs, and it just didn't look like a sugar skull. It looked like a painted black horse to me, anyway. Just
The
like it had it.
designs.
Yeah, I mean, it had the little marks here and there, but it just didn't have the bones and everything that makes a sugar skull, right? So, we talked to Success about that. They're like, well, if you want those painted on, we have to remold it. We need to make it bigger. Okay, so we went from that to the Mountie. Well, what about the Mountie? The Mountie had stickers for his eyes. And we're like,
Mhm.
this is going to be a premier bobblehead. We're going to charge people a lot of money for it because it's expensive for us to make, but we don't want to go cheap on the little details because this
On
is
the
going to be an
product.
expensive bobblehead. We want people to get what they pay for. So the eyes, we said, well, what do we need to do for the eyes to make it so you can paint them? Okay, well, we need to make him bigger. So basically, the whole bobble grew probably 2 inches from the
Yeah.
ground up, just so we could get everything done that we needed to get done. Yeah, that includes being charged for a remold fee, but it made sense, and I think we're all happy that we did make those changes at the time, to make sure it looked the way it did. And then of course you could tell the group what happened with the reins.
The reins, they wanted to do some like ugly ass like dumb rope, and we didn't like it. We said, hold on, that doesn't look like anything a Mountie would have.
Right.
So again, we were faced with the decision. It's like, okay, do we add the rope ourselves? Do we go ahead and do it? Well, no, the shipping department already does a lot more than is expected of them. So we're not going to have them do more work. But it was one of those things, again, a decision that had to be made. And we had to do that because those are the expectations of the members.
The funny thing about the reins was, when we got the finished Bobble back after we made the changes, everyone saw it. We're like, oh yeah, this looks so much better. Look at the maple leaf on his nose. It was an awesome bobblehead. But then I'm looking at it one day and I'm like, isn't he supposed to have reins? His hands are like up in the air, but there's no reins in his hand.
Uh-huh.
So we go back and look at the drawing, and sure enough, I mean, the reins were there on the drawing. So that's when we went back to talk to Success, and they're like, "Oh no, well, it's already past that point. We can't put this in there." We're like, "No,
Yeah.
like it was on the drawing. That's what you're gonna do, right?" And they were great working with us to get the right material, and we have a great partnership with Success, and we're very happy with the quality of the work they do, as you guys can see with the Mountie.
They've been working with us since day one, and so that they definitely get the props. Yeah, they get my props for sure.
So hopefully our friends across the border enjoyed the Mountie as much as we did. I mean, I think some of the some of the collectors here in the States enjoyed it, as much as some of our Canada members as well. I know I did.
Yeah, and it's not going to be the last one. All right, so don't think that this is going to be it. You got to make a little more room next to the Mountie. It was a hit. It's a home run. Good bobblehead. Good heavy bobblehead too. So definitely, what do we call this?
I think it's close to a grand
That's a
slam.
three-run jack.
This is what I consider my baby. The idea originally kind of was thrown in my head about the Mountie. I have my sister-in-law is actually from Canada. She became a U.S. citizen not too long ago. She's been in the States for a long time, but it was kind of amazing to see her become a U.S. citizen, and we have somewhat of a fondness for Canada because of her. The team did a great job, and I think we're all really happy. The members seems like we have pretty good feedback so far, so we're excited.
I know that Gary and Mo and I know that Nick, they always get these bunch of messages from other people like, hey, when's the next raffle going up? When's the next one going to go up? Which one did I miss? And I know that Dan Montes is hitting every single admin like, yo, let me get your variant loco. So, hey, there's a shout out to Dan. Dan, hey, I'm rooting for you, buddy. I'm rooting for you.
Just keep bugging Gary. I think one day you'll be able to get that from Gary.
All right. One thing I wanted to talk to you, Jack. I know that we spoke about how I finally got to see one of your breaks.
I mean, it's only been a few years.
Yeah, in full though. It had been a while. It had been a while since I see one in full.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun, and it was one of the big ones. This one was close to 2 hours, so over 2 hours, right?
Yeah, it might have been. I actually haven't checked the time on it. I know it was a long one.
Yeah, because you had a lot of stuff that you had to break open for a lot of the members. And I know that the question always comes up. There's always people asking, and there's always people that wonder, how does a break work? What happens during a break? What kind of items do they have during a break? Where did the name break come from? Where did you get started with breaks? And then eventually, I want to tell people where Jack started, and then I want Jack to then tell you guys what a break is and what it entails. So, Jack, tell me where you started with breaks.
Breaks started for me a few years ago. I was trying to think back, how long has it been? It's been at least 4 or 5 years that I've been doing breaks. And, I started on a different page, and it really started when I actually saw someone else doing a break. I mean, I definitely didn't innovate it, but it was, I think breaks really probably started in the card world, and then they've slowly moved to memorabilia, which has become really hot. But breaks, probably usually started with the cards, which what Nick does on our page.
Yeah.
And we just kind of went from there. So
and then you came over and you brought it up, and you said, hey guys, let's go ahead and let's do some breaks here at the bar.
Yeah, and COVID came along, and everyone's world changed for COVID, and things are happening with our SGA giveaways, and we saw that we were going to have a lot less activity on the page. We wanted to keep the community rolling and together, and so we said, hey, maybe I'll bring the breaks over to the bar. And it was a great idea at the time. It's entertaining. It gives people a little bit of an escape. Come check it out. Even I know there's people that watch that don't even get into the breaks, which is fine. It is entertaining. I love just opening the merchandise myself to see what's going to come out of the box. So,
but after watching your breaks and after watching some of Nick's autographed cards that he gets in his card breaks, it's exciting shit, man. I mean, it's fun.
So the first time I broke an item, the first break ever that I ever did was David Adams' product, which is who I utilize for a lot of my product now.
Yeah.
It was a full size helmet break, and it was kind of like first time out of the gates. I'm sure I did everything incorrectly and wrong, and opened the box up, and who comes out of the first box that I've ever opened live?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady on a Super Bowl speed replica helmet. And I was like, I didn't even know what to do with it. I'm like, oh my God. Just at the time it was like, I just pulled an $900 helmet, 5-6 years ago. I mean, now that helmet's probably like $3,000, but
Jesus.
it's just, I was a little spoiled out of the gate pulling Tom Brady at my first break.
That's pretty good. And you've pulled a lot of other stuff. How many Brady's have you pulled?
Probably 2 or 3 before I came over to the bar as far as helmets go. And then, at the bar, we pulled a mini helmet, which I believe Ryan Rebow has, the Chrome Mini Tom Brady. And then, we haven't really pulled any other Tom Brady except for, I did give away a Tom Brady signed football in my last helmet series. And the series, the first helmet series, I gave away a signed Tom Brady book.
Okay, good. All right, so let's get into what the breaks are. Now, just for me watching and asking questions about them here and there, I kind of understand it, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot of things that I don't know. So I'm going to be paying close attention to this one, Jack, while I take a sip of my Jack and Coke.
Is that what you're drinking? Jack and Coke?
That's what I'm having. Jack and Coke. Hey, it's the first one. I have to do it like this. You know what I mean? So sip o'clock.
It is sip o'clock. I always see that roll through my feed as I'm breaking live. It reminds me to grab my drink, take a swig, which I have some Uncle Nearest right here actually.
Hello.
With a little ginger ale. I don't know if you've ever had Uncle Nearest. It's a bourbon out of Tennessee. Uncle Nearest apparently was the guy that pretty much created Jack Daniels.
Okay.
I mean, the process for filtering, the bourbon and everything. So I learned this recently and I've tried it and I'm a fan. I guess one of his relatives, obviously far down the line, started the brand and kind of took his recipe and it's apparently become pretty popular. So,
well, I got to give it a try.
So as far as breaks go, yeah,
yes,
I'll try not to go on and on. I could probably all day long talk about breaks, but people ask a lot, what is a break? I don't understand what it is or how this works. Why is there a list of teams here? So a break is really just a piece of autographed memorabilia. It could be anything. We've done a lot of different things on the page. The more popular things are like mini helmets, full size football helmets, baseball batting helmets, which we just hit a big one this weekend. But it's basically a mystery. You don't know what's in the box. You may have an idea of what could be coming out of the box. They call those headliners or featured items. So you may have a football helmet series that says, hey, there's 100 boxes of these football helmets. Tom Brady's in one of these 100 boxes. Maybe they give you a list of another 10 names that could be in there. And then there's another, 90 helmets or 89 helmets in there that you don't know who they are. So it's kind of the surprise of, hey, what's going to come out of the box when it's opened, and so people jump in, they grab a spot, depending on how the break's set up, kind of just give you an example. So like a football helmet, we'll put in like 16 spots, at a certain dollar amount, and you jump in on one of those spots, you get 2 random teams. So hey, I got the 49ers and the Dolphins.
Yeah.
So you get those teams, you can make your trades if you want to trade other people to the teams, and then we open the box live. whatever comes out of the box, that team goes to that person. So if I pull out a Joe Montana helmet, the person that's got the San Francisco 49ers just won themselves a helmet, and that ships right to their door, no extra charges.
Wow.
So, any of the items that we pull, I mean, we do lots of different things. Like I said, bats, baseballs, I mean, comic books. I mean, we're getting into some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the baseline of how it works.
And no matter what you put out there, you fill up. So people are fans, not only of the product that you're putting out there, and obviously the show that you put together. And we talk about Sip O'Clock. I don't know when that started. I just started typing Sip O'Clock, and now it's Sip O'Clock, and we take a swig.
Oh yeah. Oh no. I mean, it's gotten to the point where Mo will put up a poll like, "Hey, when do you think Jack's going to start his breaks?" Because the joke is that it starts at midnight, which we've been known to start late. And it's difficult for me. I'm on the East Coast, and we have a lot of members that participate in break start on the West Coast. So, if I start at 7:00, that means it's 4:00 out there. You guys are eating dinner, taking care of kids. So it is kind of a, trying to balance. So when we start, plus, of course, this isn't my job. I have a full-time job. I have 3 kids and a wife and, things to take care of here too. So it's trying to balance everything and get everything done and get the lists ran and check the payments, which is a nightmare. Those are all things that go into it. But, the joke is, what time is he going to start? So, I mean, we've had a lot of fun over the past year. We pulled some amazing items. I mean, we could go on and on about the things we pulled for our members, but, it's just, it's a great time. The community gets together. We, the chat's very engaging, a lot of joking around. So it's definitely a good time.
All right. One thing I was going to ask you, and I want you to tell me if this is Brian Lim. I'm talking about Brian Lim, and hopefully he listens to this. He won a Niners. I think it was the Eclipse Niners. I think it was Montana and Rice.
Yeah.
And he told me, I spoke to him, and he was super, super hyped that he actually got the helmet. He was telling me that he looked at every single helmet that got pulled in that series up until that point. And he said, I knew that there was still a Niners one out there. He's like, it was the first time that I got in, and I made a trade to, Brett. I think he had the Chiefs or something like that. He had a big one.
Yeah.
And he said, and I took the Niners because I had a feeling that they were coming out because of all the research that he did. And right away I thought, oh shit, this dude's counting cards. That's what I thought. I'm like, oh shit, this dude is counting cards. What's the count, Brian? What's the count? And but anyway, so he did his math.
Yeah.
So after he told me, I was like, oh shit, that's actually pretty cool. Have you seen or heard anything like that before?
Well, so what you're referring to is the bar series that we put together, or that I put together.
Correct,
so
yes.
It was my own helmet series. So I've only done, I think, 3 of those series. We've done a couple other things, like maybe a little mystery crate here and there. Nick's got his Breaking Ball series up right now that it's kind of similar, where we're putting the product together ourselves, so we can, I started doing that for the members because I can control what goes into the product. I think everyone's been pretty happy. I try to make sure that, hits are hits. It's not, hey, I got this Todd Gurley helmet, even though he's not on the Rams anymore. That's part of the breaking. When you get product from a retailer like Dave & Adams or Gold Rush through Steel City, there's several different companies you can get product from. They have to throw in filler items, and some of it's probably stuff that's been sitting on their shelves. I mean, that was, I think, part of the idea behind breaks for these companies was, hey, this is an awesome opportunity for us to get rid of some of the stock that we have. We'll put in some big name headliners, so you have an opportunity to win a Tom Brady helmet for, however much the box is, $300 instead of paying $3,000. But, we'll also get a chance to get rid of all of our product. So, my thought with my series was, let me put together, solid helmets. I mean, obviously there are some of the lower tier helmets in there to kind of make room for some of the bigger stuff, but I tried to keep those names, as relevant as possible, and, things that people would still want. And I think it went well. It's a lot of work, but, I think it worked out pretty well. So, I mean, that's where, they knew there was all 32 teams were represented. I had 50 boxes. You can kind of think, okay, what's been pulled? It might be time. So it does get it interesting.
He had to be writing everything down.
Yeah, because I don't release like, hey, this is what's been pulled. You kind of got to watch and keep an eye on it. That's kind of part of the game.
He did his homework and it paid off.
It did. You got an awesome helmet.
Paid off for sure.
Yeah. I always love when someone pulls an item for the team that they root for. It's a double, it's great to pull any great big time item, but when it's your team, it even makes it more special.
And speaking of that, I think I remember seeing another one where you pulled I think it was a Tom Glavine or a John Smoltz jersey for someone that happens to be an Atlanta Braves fan.
Yeah.
And they pick the Braves because it's their team. And then boom, they hit that Tom Glavine jersey. So I thought that was pretty cool. So I do agree, once they hit something that they really want.
Kind of like our,
get into it.
Kind of like our friend Nick Carbs, I was going to say.
Shit.
Yeah, kind of jump in there. I mean, that just happened this weekend. Pulled out the box and saw the little tag where I knew it was a headliner, kind of peeked at the name and saw it was Aaron Judge. And I'm like, oh. Then you go back to the list. You got to see who's got the win, right? And I kind of scroll through the list. Sure enough, spot number 10. There it is, Nick Carbs.
And it was a spot that Mo picked, right?
Yeah, Mo kind of helps Nick get into some breaks because Nick's busy with cards. I think he had broken cards earlier. He's probably sorting cards and some different things. And Nick goes to bed a little earlier, so he wasn't awake during the live. I think Mo tried to call him, but a huge Aaron Judge chrome with the pinstripes. I mean, it was a beautiful helmet, headliner for that series. And, something that Nick's kids are hyped up about, getting that in their hands. So, I love it when it works out that way.
Well, I mean, for those that may not have seen the video, picture a batting helmet. And it wasn't a replica, right? It was.
No, those are authentic. Yeah.
Yes, it's an authentic helmet, a batting helmet for Aaron Judge, who is like, that fucking guy's huge. So his dome is huge. And the whole thing is super, super shiny. Like, the entire thing is made out of chrome, super, super shiny, except the crown of the helmet had a blue, still chromed out blue, but the pinstripes on it. It was dope. And then the brim of the helmet was the silver chrome color on it again. But it was a dope helmet. It was a dope ass helmet. And no matter what signatures on it or what logo is on there, those helmets are just beautiful work.
Yeah, nice high ticket item there. So I mean, that's kind of breaks in a nutshell. I mean, I'm sure there'll be more questions, and people once they listen to the show, I mean, they drop the comments into the feed, and we'll be happy to answer more questions down the road.
Are there any memorable breaks? Whether they were good or bad.
Oh yeah.
I mean.
Things come to mind right away, actually. When you say bad, and I know everyone that will listen to this from the page will laugh, get a laugh.
You're welcome, guys. I brought this up just for you.
But I had this great idea. I saw this product online, Leaf, which is a good company. I mean, known for sports cards mainly, and they do a good job with the sports cards. I saw this product. Hey, it's like 6 autographed 8x10 photos for wrestling. And I said, hey, we've never done wrestling before. This would be fun, right? People on the page love wrestling. So I got this packet of photos. I'm thinking, man, this is going to be so cool. I'm going to pull out Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, like some of these cool wrestlers. And, the first one comes out and I'm like, what the hell is this? And it was like some backyard wrestling guy or someone you've never heard of that's in some league, probably hasn't even been on TV. I don't know. I've never heard of one person in this entire envelope, and so people were cracking up like, oh my god, this is the worst product we've ever seen. And I felt bad too because people spend money on these items, so when we do get something that's not great, it's hard to be excited about something like that. And, to know people paid money for that, I'm like, I just felt bad. So, I actually pulled out a Ric Flair photo that actually had myself sitting over here. And I'm like, I needed to give this away to somebody. because I just didn't
You should
feel
do it
right.
again. You should do it again for April Fools.
Oh man, people have asked about it. They're like, "Hey, when's the leaf coming back?" as a joke, and I've actually looked all around. That product went away in 2019, and I'm not surprised based on what
It
was
needs
in
to
it.
stay away.
So we had some redemption here the last few weeks. We brought back wrestling and some wrestling signed cards that Hit Parade put out. So we pulled some of those, and I guess mainly people that are recognizable at least, and that are WWE and NXT and stuff
You
like
pulled a
that.
couple champions. You pulled a couple champions too. A couple, I think, of the girl champions, which is
Right.
obviously a win, and that's a definite plus compared to the other one.
So I'm always searching for product, either trying to make my own product if there's a need, or Hit Parade's been killing it. They were named the product of the year, I guess, as far as repack goes, and I think that's pretty fair based on what I've seen in the marketplace. So definitely that was one of the memorable worst breaks. As far as the break that probably is most memorable, I mean, I say there's two right at the top. One, I don't, it was amazing the item I pulled, but it wasn't technically a break. It was kind of a personal break between Gene Farmer and I. And people see Gene on the page. He'll come in once in a while and just close out a raffle because he's crazy like I am. And so we were splitting some cases of Upper Deck threads early on. These are very expensive jerseys, and we hit some amazing jerseys up in the front. We were spending way too much money on these jerseys, but Gene and I split a case, and here we go. I pull out. I don't even remember what the first jersey was. Some no-name basketball player or somebody.
Ben
Probably
Simmons?
it wasn't Ben Simmons. We know Ben. I think it was like Markelle Fultz, and not that he's a bad player, but he wasn't on the 76ers anymore, right? So it was like, great, this is great start to this case. The next jersey that comes out of there was Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
So Gene had been searching for Michael Jordan. That was his whole thing. So he got his Michael Jordan jersey, his signed Jordan jersey, which at the time was like an $8,000 jersey, and 123 for that series. It was a special, something to do with their some lady that was special to the Bulls. I don't remember. It had like a little inscription kind of embroidered into the jersey. Anyway, that now those jerseys are going for like $15,000, and that's another
I was going
story.
to say Fluffer, but I don't think that's the right one.
Oh no.
Okay.
Oh no. So I was happy for Gene, and I'm always happy when members hit, and I was a little disappointed because I'm figuring, well, if Jordan's in this case, then I'm screwed here. So and
Here
sure
comes
enough,
a wrestling signature.
exactly. Here comes Ric Flair's underwear or something. I'm just waiting for it to come out, and pull open the next box, and it's like, this can't be right. Like, it's Tiger Woods. But not only was it Tiger Woods, which is amazing to begin with, I'm looking at it and it's like 101 on here. Well, how's that? And so I'm starting to look at it a little closer. There was a 1-of-1 worn tournament polo. So Tiger had worn this polo in one of his tournaments.
That he won.
He didn't win, actually.
Oh, he didn't win the tournament.
No, it was. I have to go back and look at what tournament it was, but it was a tournament that he was like tied for the lead, and like he lost in like a playoff. Like it was like down to the wire. And this was a third round jersey, third round of golf jersey that he wore, and I found pictures of him wearing it and everything. Still smelled like Tiger Woods, like whatever cologne he wears.
Okay, sounds good. I've heard stories about that too, Jack. So thank you for confirming it.
Oh yeah, there might have been some. Yeah, well, we won't go there. But so that was those jerseys go for like 35 grand at the time. That's amazing. It's just insane. Retail. I mean, maybe you wouldn't be able to get 35 grand for it.
What did you do with it?
I still have it. It's believe it or not, still in the box. Still trying to figure out how to display that thing. I've been going back and forth with, do we create a big case and like shrine or something? Or
when you go golfing with it, make sure you like golf slowly, okay? So you don't like fuck up.
It's gonna make me better, right? Like,
of course, it's going to give you all the talents that you need down there in sunny Florida.
Maybe I won't hit it into the woods every time like I do now. So.
There you go.
So that, obviously that was probably the most memorable, but as far as a true break and a member hitting a big item, that had to have been Brett Coy, who,
Ah,
people give him a hard time because he wins a lot of cool stuff, but, Brett's in almost every single break. So of course he's going to hit, more
something.
often than others. So yeah, appreciate Brett. Send a shout out to Brett. But he took home. We had these big mystery boxes that had multi sport items in them. They're called big box. So they have five or more items in them. The headliner was a Jordan jacket, all-star jacket, and open the box and go through everything. It was the last item, and I'm like, is this like a jersey or a jacket or something? And kind of peek in there, and I'm like, oh, you gotta be shitting me. And sure enough, it was Jordan, and pulled that out. And, I think that kind of blew Brett away. But, that was a $15,000 retail. They still had them on the website, on the Upper Deck website, that they're probably still there. But $15,000 jacket that we pulled out of that box, so he probably paid $35 for that spot, and he pulled out a $15,000 item. Now that's not going to be happening on every break, but that's the kind of stuff
But
that
it does happen
it
where
does
you do
happen.
pull some shit that is just like, whoa,
Amazing.
that's
Yep.
actually pretty nice. And I get to kind of like see who, as far as the athletes go, who actually takes time to sign
Oh yeah.
their signature, and who is just there to like clack 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 clack, give me my $150, sucker, you know. And I know that he's one of your favorites, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jack, but I know you like Andre Dawson's signature a lot, right?
Yeah, he's got a beautiful signature. I know Brian Cook, he collects Andre Dawson, and we just pulled a bat recently. I think Hank Valkovich, actually new to the page, pulled a Andre Dawson bat, and it was he's just got a beautiful signature. And then you have other guys, and they just kind of put a line on it. I know Nickel could show you some cards, that have like a line on it, and you're like, what the heck? I mean, like, you can't even take the time to make something that looks like a signature. I mean, it doesn't have to be like all long and intricate, right? But it's just, obviously you can see who's taking the time for their fans and who just doesn't care.
Um, Jack, I want to get into one thing. Obviously, with baseball coming back, so are the giveaways. What do you think?
Yeah, it's we're still kind of in that gray area. I mean, people are getting vaccinated. We're kind of waiting to see what baseball is going to do as far as attendance. It's like every day I go into my feed on Messenger and I get a message from Kenny or a message from Robert or a message from Mo. Hey, the Diamondbacks are not going to give away anything this year. They're going to mail out all the giveaways. Or I, hear Nick complaining that no teams in his 10-hour
Oh yeah.
radius of driving are going to give anything away. So I mean, it's we're kind of watching it really closely to see who's going to let fans into the building. A lot of these teams have a lot of items left over from last year, right? I mean, that they're going to be giving away this year, I guess, and some of those players are not here anymore, so you wonder what they're going to do.
I know a lot of different teams are going to do. They're going to do different things. For example, the Giants. I talked to my rep at the Giants, and he told me flat out, he's like, they're not going to give anything away in April or May,
Mm-hmm.
nothing. And anything that was produced for last year's giveaways that they couldn't put a stop to, well, that's the stuff that they have. But any stuff that was not produced, it's simply not going to be given out. Who knows if that means that it'll never be given out, or who knows how that's going to work out, because now you involve sponsors, now you
Right.
involve timing. There's that new show on Disney Plus,
Mm-hmm.
the angel, the guy with the wings, the Marvel show.
The
Wings.
Falcon, is it the Falcon?
Falcon.
Or
There you go. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. They were supposed to do that. So now who knows if the Giants are ever going to do that Falcon one? Different teams are going to do different things. Different states are going to have different rules. They're going to have different laws, different mandates, and that's going to dictate how things are going to be done. Armando was telling us that the Rangers are going to have 7,000 or 8,000 to give away,
yeah,
but they're going to split it between two games.
right.
So the whole thing is, once June, July come around, hey, these teams are probably just going to flood these gates and these home games with a lot of these giveaways that they probably did have extra stuff because there's no way that they just keep that stuff right there. They got to get rid of it for new stuff to come in.
Right. Yeah, I mean, one thing that we did see that actually came up on the page today that I'm kind of really excited about is, we're seeing some teams that are, offering giveaways and allowing them to be shipped, which, we never really saw a lot of that in the past. But we had George Kirby put up a post today. I guess he's the box office manager for the Mahoning Valley Scrappers.
Yep.
And some giveaways we were looking at last year, because these were giveaways I believe that were last year. They're giving away a 4 bobblehead package. It's got Francisco Lindor and a Jose Ramirez duel. It looks like a Roberto Perez and Cleveland Indians #1 prospect Nolan Jones. But the
and mind
fourth,
you, Lindor, Jack, he's
Yeah.
playing with the Mets now.
yeah,
So they're still giving it out, and I believe his name is Georgie.
Georgie. I'm
the
sorry.
member. I think
You're
it's
correct.
Georgie.
It is. It is Georgie.
But yeah, so for Georgie to come out and say, "Hey guys, listen, I got these packages. Come get them. I know that you guys are collectors. We'll go ahead and we'll help you out." That's very nice of him to do because any team, obviously, they want asses in the seats, so they got to get these people in there.
Yeah.
So for him to offer it, that's really good. It helps out the collectors, but he also opened up an option when you buy these packages, which, by the way, they're only $45. $45 for 4 bobbleheads, one of them being a duel. You can't go wrong with this deal. Okay?
Yeah.
Especially with Lindor, that's going to be the last bobblehead in a Indians affiliate.
Yeah, I mean, $10 to ship all 4 of them too at the end of the season. So it's, well, we didn't get into the 4th bobblehead. I mean, that's something I've been waiting for forever because I don't know that there is
Let
any
me cover
bobbleheads.
this last thing, Jack.
Okay, go ahead.
This last thing. For those that don't know, the thing that Georgie did is allowing members to do is when you buy these packages, the baseball ticket is not going to waste. You can actually donate it. And what Georgie will do is he will find people, whether it's kids at the local Boys and Girls Club or whether they already work with some programs or associations right there where he's at. And the ticket is actually being donated so that people don't have to pay to get in. The ticket's already been purchased. They're just going to give it away. So if you do order some of these packages, please do make sure that if you're not going to attend the game, donate your ticket. I don't know. I'm a big karma guy, so I felt like I needed to say that.
Absolutely.
That Georgie did open up his phone lines to tell us about this, and not only that, he was also answering questions. And every single question, Jack, was about one bobblehead. And so far, this is the bobblehead of the year. So far, the bobblehead of the year. And if you think about it, this bobblehead's been the bobblehead of the year since last year.
It has been. Well, no one ever really knew because, you always hear about, hey, this bobblehead's coming out of so-and-so, it's a Seinfeld bobble. Okay, well, that's great, but what is it going to look like? I mean, is it going to really look like the Seinfeld character? Is it going to have the George with the shrimp of the sea and all that? I still need to get my hands on one of those bobbleheads, but, it's like, do you really know what it's going to be like? Okay, we heard it's going to be Ed O'Neill, and it's like, it's got to be Al Bundy. He's got to be.
To have an Ed O'Neill bobblehead, like you said, the question was, it has to be in Al Bundy form. It can't be in Modern Family form. It can't do that, although that's where he won all his Emmys.
Right.
So I thought, okay, well, hopefully it's not like that. Hopefully it's in Married with Children form.
Yeah.
And we are very, very happy to announce that through Georgie's insights, it is going to be indeed an Al Bundy formed bobblehead, and it is going to be in the most famous and iconic Al Bundy position ever, and it is not the one where he puts his hand down his pants. What are they going to get, Jack? Yeah. What are they going to get?
Oh, come on. They're going to get the Polk High 4 touchdowns in 1 game pose, the kind of like the Heisman almost, it's like the iconic. It's almost
like a lightning, like the Fernando Rodney, he does the lightning.
Right.
Yeah, so. And Georgie also told us that it's going to be in his Letterman. And what we don't know, however, And obviously, details are very important when it comes to collecting these themed bobbleheads, these special event bobbleheads that have an iconic character or
Yeah.
person to it, attached to it. We don't know if it's going to have the Polk High letter P in the letterman, or if it's going to have the scrappers, possibly an S,
Right. Right.
or any other initials on there. And who knows if it's going to have the blue and white Polk High colors.
Well, I can be sure that if it doesn't, I'm sure there's people like Cano and Kevin Waddle and lots of other people that do customs that are going to be customizing this thing into Al Bundy from Polk High.
It would be nice, I think, that if it was in his iconic blue letterman with the white sleeves and the P right in front. Polk
Right.
High, number 34, 4 touchdowns in a single game. Al Bundy, that's who.
Al Bundy. I was excited to hear that today. Georgie made my day by telling us about that, and it kind of just got me excited for SGAs to start. I mean, it's been so long, you can't even remember the last SGA that came out. Some did come out last year. We saw the Luis Robert that came out that was in high demand, and I guess I heard that maybe they're going to be releasing more of those now that the baseball's coming back there in Charlotte.
A lot of mystery boxes. A lot
Yeah.
of mystery boxes as well.
A lot of mystery boxes were pushed out during the year as well. So we still don't know a lot what's going to happen. But we're hoping that we will have SGA soon.
Yeah, and I know that there was, I think, 3 different ones, maybe just 2 different ones that were released, not released, but I guess an employee in Kansas City, he had a box out, and there were two of them. One of them was a bulldozer, or a bobblehead of Dozier in a bulldozer. And I know that they were going for like upwards of $150 to $200 because everyone thought they're not going to release these anymore because whether the player's not there anymore or whatever, different sponsor,
Right.
or whatever the case may be. And they had a different one. I think it's a Soler. I forget his first name, over in Kansas City. And they had that one as well. And some employee just took out a box, I guess. But now with baseball coming back, well, they're going to be up there again. So what do you think is going to happen to the value now?
Yeah.
When you have thousands released, maybe not as with the same flow with thousands of collectors getting them, but with the bobbleheads being given out, the same ones, and the value being so high because they were supposed to be unreleased, what do you think is going to happen? I know San Jose Giants did the same thing as well. You mentioned Luis Robert, which was pretty high up when it came to the Rasses right away. I wonder what's going to happen with those bobbleheads that get re-released.
Yeah, it does make you wonder, but I'm a fan of the Tampa Bay Rays, and of course, when I got into collecting, and I'm sure we'll get into all that down the road in future chapters, but I bought my bobbleheads at like, hey, I can get this one for like $50, and now they're like worth $5. So it's kind of something I deal with here in Tampa. When I first got into collecting bobbleheads, I don't know why, but they were all at the top of the market. So it's just the way it is. But no, I mean, you see that with a lot of bobbleheads, right? I mean, things go for hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and then all of a sudden you look at one day and it's like, wow, this thing's worth like $40 now.
Yeah.
You see that often now, it seems like. And then there's others that you don't think are going to be worth anything, and they end up being grails, and they're $300-$400 a piece.
Yeah. Well, I know what the Giants did is at one point, and when I know what the Giants, and we can talk about what everyone talks about, the Giants started the whole bobblehead craze, yada, yada, yada. But I know that in the early 2000s, when the Giants were making bobbleheads, they were making around 2,000 to 3,000 of each bobblehead, let's say 3 to 4 bobbleheads a year. So they're very, very, very heavy. I know that you've played around with the motorcycle Lucille, with the San Francisco Police Department Lucille.
He's sitting right behind me. I just picked one up.
Yeah, see, that thing is heavy, right?
It is.
And that's how the Giants made all those bobbleheads. But they didn't give out a lot of them, and they had a lot of mail out promotions. You mail something in, and then they mail you the bobblehead. What they started doing after the championship runs is, instead of giving out 3,000 and just for a special event, what they started doing is now they started just doing add-on tickets. So you can add tickets to whatever tickets you already have, And it doesn't matter if you're not sitting in the special event section, you can still get a bobblehead. So now that $2,000-3,000 count for special event bobbleheads, now it went up to, let's say, 5, maybe 6,000 being given away.
Right.
At the gates, they went from 15,000 to 30,000 to 40,000. So that right there brings the value down right away. And I believe 2 years ago they went down to 20,000 again for the gate giveaways. But I know they also offer, just like any other team, they'll offer their season ticket holders giveaway package. So you can just go ahead and get everything in the mail. So if you think about a major league team that has 25,000 season ticket holders, that's already 25,000 that they have to possibly make.
Yeah.
Then they have to make the replacements. Then they have to make the ones at the gates. Then they have to make the ones at possible minor league stadiums that they can go ahead and give away at some of the events that they have. Oh, here's one for free. So there's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of the of bobblehead product out there. It's just a matter of sometimes their own promotions and their own way that they run things will lower the value of their own stuff, or sometimes, like you said, it'll just skyrocket.
Yeah. We see that with some of these sugar skulls, right? I mean, it's just, some of them are really hard to find now. It's just unreal.
There's a smaller, I forget what team it is, but it's almost like a mini skull. And I did 3 skulls.
Canopolis, was it Canopolis maybe?
Canopolis, you're right. Yeah, the Canopolis, it was that one. I remember the orange K in the hat. And I did 3 customs for Roman over in Houston. And it was his wife, himself, and then his little girl at the time. I know that he's got a set of twins that he was blessed with last year. But I did 3 of them. And that Canopolis one is a good $150, maybe even more now.
Yeah.
And I start to think, I'm like, holy shit, I customized $150 bobblehead, but who's to know? At the time, it was like, hey, here it is.
Exactly.
It's like, all right, here, start grinding the logos like it's nothing. And next thing you know, it's like, hey, people would want that one to complete their skull set collection.
Right. Well, it's like the Mountie, you're going to pay $100 shipped for it when it came out, and now pretty soon that thing's going to be $200 all day long.
Shit, I mean, it's because it's only about 150 out there.
Yeah, probably.
This is dope. This is a beautiful bobblehead for sure. Make sure that you don't leave it on the edge of anything, because if this thing falls, it's probably going to break the floor.
No breakage is going to happen in this house going forward. So just be very careful with the page bubbles, and we won't talk about that and tell people what you're referring to. I'll save that for a future chapter as well.
Of course.
But kind of to wrap up, as we talked about SGA coming, and there's other sports obviously going on right now. You got the NCAA basketball tournament going on, which is kind of nice since that got canceled last year, and now they're actually holding it. Even if the fans aren't involved as much, it's just great to have sports kind of back in full action. I think it all started with full seasons. It started with the football. NFL really, I think people were a little shocked. I mean, they had some hiccups, but they did get through the full season, so it was pretty amazing. And we heard the NFL said that they announced they're going to have a live NFL draft from April 29th to May 1st. So that's going to be in Cleveland, Ohio, and it's just kind of the sign of things coming back for sports, right? They're going to have fans there, and people can boo Goodell, and it's just going to be back to the good old days, hopefully.
There you go. And then this one's taking place in Cleveland, which is the home of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but also the Football Hall of Fame is in Canton out there.
Yep.
So it's good. It's good to have these events back. Like Jack was saying, good entertainment. But we'll get into more. And listen, this is the first time that we do this. So hopefully this is something that you guys find some entertainment value in. We will try and tighten some things up and talk about some of the things that you guys may talk about. What we want to do, Jack and I, we want to make sure that we give good information out when it comes to the hobby that we like. The camaraderie between the members and the camaraderie and the things that come together because of one hobby that we share. To be able to talk about this is nice. This is wonderful. It's the best thing about the hobby, that we can talk about this all day, no matter where we come from, no matter what we look like, and no matter what hat we have on. I'm in the West Coast. Jack is in Tampa Bay. We're 3 hours apart,
Yeah.
but yet we're talking about this. And I'm sure that if Jack didn't have work tomorrow, we can talk about this, for a very, very long time. So give us an opportunity, and hopefully we do something that you guys like, and something that you guys can tune into, and something that you guys can go ahead and share and tell your friends about. And hopefully we and end up being very, very good for the hobby. Jack, some words from you, please.
Yeah, we're just looking to bring some value to your time, as far as, let you know what's coming up, maybe some things you may have missed as far as SGA giveaways go, some things to kind of look out for in the future. We want to shoot the shit on some things, of course. That's part of the fun. I'm sure there'll be some references to "Oh Baby" and some other sayings that make their way around the pages. But
There you go.
it's definitely we're just looking forward to giving a little bit more entertainment to you and information, and kind of be your source for what you want to hear from for bobbleheads.
All right, good. And then the other thing that I was gonna add too, Jack, is it's not always gonna be just me and you talking back and forth.
Right.
We're gonna have some people in here to talk about, whatever it is that they want to talk about when it comes to the hobby. I know that there's people in here that are big time collectors, but there's some really, really good people out there, and we really got. It would be really nice to get to know who these people are,
Yep.
and where they come from, and the path that they have taken, that has led us to meet inside this arena where we collect bobbleheads.
Right.
So there's going to be some good things coming up in here. We'll have guests to talk about this. We'll have guests to talk about their stories. We'll obviously be talking about all the SGAs. We'll be talking about sports and everything. You guys will have fun. I'm pretty sure about that. So I hope you guys enjoy the show, and I hope you guys have a very good time listening to us. Don't forget, if you miss something, just hit rewind. Listen to it again. I'm telling you, there's a couple of good jokes in there. All right.
A couple. I need to work on that. I need to expand my jokes, I guess.
There you go. In the meantime, thank you for listening. My name is Roberto. This is Jack. Together we are
Jack and Cano.
All right, guys. Make sure you tip your bartender. Bye bye.